I would never do anything so crass as to talk to you about how you can use the stock market to profit from that tragedy in Ferguson, Missouri. Unarmed teenager shot by a police officer last month, circumstances that are still murky. But given the way this story and the subsequent unrest in Ferguson has captured the imagination of politicians, voters, and of course the media, I think it's possible this could turn out to be a pivotal moment in the history of American law enforcement. Specifically, I am talking about wearable video cameras. Already, police departments across the country are embracing forward-facing wearable cameras that capture exactly what transpires during an arrest, a confrontation, or a simple routine traffic stop. Now, for a long time, police unions have objected to wearable cameras. Understandable. Who really wants to be under that level of scrutiny every second you're on the job? But initially, they objected to dashboard cameras in police cars, too. And now those are standard all over the country. Now that we have the technology, I think wearable video cameras could become the new standard for police officers over the next decade or so. They just make too much sense not to be used, especially in the wake of Ferguson. And you know who's the #1 maker of wearable cameras for law enforcement? Taser International, TASR. We all know Taser is the maker of non-lethal weapons for law enforcement both here and abroad, and actual tasers do still account for nearly 90% of the company's sales. This is a nice, stable, consistent cash flow of a business with a robust 30% operating margin. Not a lot of competition there. Plus, it still has tremendous room to grow overseas. Today, half of American police officers carry a taser, but only 1 in 50 police officers use them internationally. What I like the most about Taser's non-lethal weapons division is that it generates a ton of cash that the company then invests in new technologies, like the rapidly growing wearable video camera business. Why do I believe agencies across America will embrace these wearable video cameras? It is not because I think it's the right thing to do. It's not because I think it's smart policy that will improve the behavior of both police officers and everyone they interact with, while making prosecutors' jobs much easier by allowing them to rely on raw video footage rather than the he said, she said conflicting witness of testimony. Hey, look, I like these things. No, though. The reason I think that wearable video cameras are sweeping the nation, one simple reason: economics. Because at the end of the day, it's cheaper for a given municipality to pay for the darn cameras than it is to deal with citizen complaints and invariably lawsuits, both of the legitimate and nuisance variety. Cambridge University did a study in partnership with the Rialto, California Police Department, where they made officers use Taser's Axon wearable camera. The result? Rialto, which is a city of about 100,000 people, saw an astounding 88% reduction in citizen complaints and an amazing 60% reduction in the use of force by police officers. No surprise, everybody's on their best behavior when they know they're being videotaped. But the key here is that the reduction in complaints saved the city an enormous amount of money. The average complaint costs about $20,000 in police resources and legal fees. So Rialto's 88% reduction in citizen complaints saved the city $420,000. That's a heck of a lot more money than the $90,000 a year the city spent on tasers, cameras, and evidence.com, the company's cloud-based video evidence management platform. For cash-strapped cities across the country, of which almost everyone is, the wearable video cameras are a terrific investment that can save them a fortune. And that's not even accounting for the benefit of more reliable events for prosecutors or a reduction in the use of force by police. Why do I think Taser will be the one to dominate this market? Well, they're already the #1 player, with 7 major cities in the U.S. actively using the company's Axon cameras, along with 3 more doing paid trials, and 10 major cities either having active discussions or using the cameras in a pilot program, including New York and Los Angeles. Recently, Taser won a $4 million 5-year contract with San Diego for wearable video cameras in the company's evidence.com platform. Here's the thing. Taser has a huge edge on everybody else in this business because they already have very strong relationships with 17,000 out of the 18,000 law enforcement agencies in the U.S., thanks to the traditional non-lethal weapons business. That means they have the connections to sell wearable video cameras to every police department that wants them. Plus, they're also seeing some international demand, particularly from Brazil. How about evidence.com? This is another very smart Taser innovation that could turn into a major line of business down the road. We've talked about this before. Most municipalities simply aren't equipped with the technological know-how to properly manage storing video evidence. Many police departments have to dig through a messy mix of physical and digital evidence, which results in a lot of mistakes that can sometimes lead to mistrials. With Evidence.com, Taser gives police departments a platform to manage their video evidence in an efficient and cost-effective manner. And police departments love the thing. In the last 12 months, the amount of data uploaded to the site has quadrupled. And because this is a software as a service business, that's right, it's a cloud business, it gives Taser a nice recurring revenue stream that it can bank on year after year. Of course, municipal governments in this country, well, let's just say it's about as inefficient as it gets. So it could take a little longer than it should for cities across the country to adopt Taser's cameras and their evidence platform. But I really do think it's a question of when, not if. However, while I like Taser the company, I do have a tad of an issue with Taser the stock. In the months since the shooting in Ferguson, shares have skyrocketed from $12 and change to $17.79, and that is a massive 45% move. Now, Taser's most recent quarter is pretty strong, but up here the stock is trading at 40 times next year's earnings estimates, and that is quite expensive. Although when you consider that the company has a 30% long-term growth rate, you're certainly going to get a higher multiple than the average stock. My view, I don't like to chase, but I think Taser's an attractive situation. Hey, look, I felt that way ever since we brought the CEO on a little more than a year ago when the stock was below 12, and it's now giving you a 50% gain since then. The company's got a beautiful balance sheet, $48 million in cash, just $100,000 in long-term debt. It's got consistent double-digit revenue growth. Most important, the earnings here could indeed explode higher once Taser starts to wind down the research and development spending for its wearable video camera business. Let me put it this way. If Taser were to cut its R&D budget by $2.5 million, because it's kind of done its spend, the earnings per share would increase by 30%. In other words, the earnings here would be a lot higher if the company weren't investing so aggressively to grow the business. I think they're making the right call for now. I just don't want the high multiples to scare you away. Here's the bottom line. Wearable video cameras are the future of law enforcement, and I think Taser, which is already the #1 player here, will own this business going forward. Now, you don't have to chase the stock up here. There's nothing going to happen this week. But my confidence that this is no longer speculative, but has become an integral and serious tool for municipal governments, makes me believe you can do some buying now and some buying later. If the market takes a non-law enforcement spending related dive, it gives you a better price for this new policing necessity.